It's been a while since I played MBT and I decided to return to this game. And even more, I decided to play again Scenario 1. But today I'm going to play it with a lot of not only advanced rules but also optional rules. This scenario is definitely made to be played with basic rules only, but I have to admit that I never liked basic rules. They are way too simply and they don't give you a feel that you are really playing MBT. So, I'm going to play with all advanced rules and some optional rules as well, so I hope this will be much more interesting. So, this is the smallest scenario for this game. In this scenario we have only one company on each side. We have 6, 9, 12, 15 M60s versus 13 T72s AV. And nothing else, just a couple of tanks fighting against each other. And let's take a look at these tanks. Here we have their tables, and I think that the most interesting case when you take a look at them is the difference between their armor factors. You can tell that T72 has definitely better armor. Turret front has 19, hull front has 18. When it comes to the M60, this is 48 for a turret front and 48 for hull front. So nothing really impressive, especially if you compare their guns. Since their guns aren't different, because as you can tell they have a very similar strength, but the difference is when it comes to the ammo, because T72 has quite a same ammo as M60 when it comes to the AP ammo. They work, they have similar factors, but when it comes to heat, well, that's where is the difference between because Soviet heat ammo is definitely better. You can see that it has 110 strength, so this is definitely great ammo, especially if you would face some well protected tank. Well, it doesn't make much difference when it comes to the M60 because it has very poor armor, but even so you can tell that they have it has a better penetration power, but on the smaller range. When it comes to the M60, well, its heat is definitely worse than AP, maybe only on the long and extended range. So T72 is definitely better than M60, so it is going to be an interesting combat. And now I already set up my units, so we can start our game. And now Americans are starting here, and they are starting in 4 stacks, and there we go with the one of the major differences between each side, because Americans have 2 command tanks, and each command tank in this scenario has 10 hexes range. So Americans can fight more elastic. They can form 2 different groups that are that they can be pretty far from each other, and each can have its own command tank. When it comes to the Soviets, well, that's a different case. They have only one command tank and 3 groups, each contains 4 tanks. I will probably split them later, but that's how they should start, and they have only one command tank, so I think sooner or later Soviets will end with a couple of their units being out of command. I guess it will happen. So that's all. You can see the initial setup, and we can start our game now. We are starting with spotting phase, but we don't have to worry about spotting phase in the turn 1, so we can skip it, and we can go into the command phase. We are starting with disrupted communication step, so each side has to make a roll and see if communication was disrupted or not. So let's make these rolls. Americans, oh sorry, wrong set. Now Americans 41 and Soviets 26. So the difference is 25, is 15. This is not enough to get disrupted communication, because you have to get higher than 40, 50 or 60 to get your communication being disrupted. So no communication disrupted for this turn. That's pretty good. And next we have to determine available comments. So now Americans have 15 tanks, so let's check. They are both sides are seasoned, so they have 6 plus 3, so they have 9 comments, and Soviets have 13 units, so they have 6 plus 2, so they have 8 comments. So both sides have same number of almost the same number of comments, and this is going to be enough for their units. And first let's start with Soviets, since we are already here. And what I'm going to do, I will give a move order to them, to this command tank, to this group, and when it comes to this group I'm going to give them 2 command orders, because I'm going to split them. Alright, so that's all when it comes to the Soviets. And now let's go to the US Army, and well, they are starting on the edge of the board, and they are all going to get movement. Okay, I need to hold my camera because this is the edge of my table, so otherwise my camera would probably fall. I'm not going to split anyone, so they are all getting their normal move orders. Alright, so that's all. And next we have to check who is going to have initiative in the turn 1. Both sides are seasoned, so no one gets a modifier for great. And now, Americans have 47 and Soviets 82. So Soviets have initiative. And now we can skip first fire phase. Well, we can skip all the fire phases because we have no AO units in this scenario, and we are moving into the combat phase. We can skip combat phase as well because no one can see anyone at the beginning of the game here. So we can skip indirect fire combat step and direct fire combat step, and we are moving into the movement phase. In the movement phase, the first player moves as second and second player moves as first, so we can move Americans first. So let's go with US tanks. They are all on the paved road, and this means that they can move on 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's all, and now let's give them spot move. Now this group. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And I'm not going to move down the road because my goal is to reach these woods. So they are also getting spot move. Now this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this group follows them as well, but it's not going to move here, but right here. They are going to finish their movement 1 hex closer, and they both get spot move. Let's mark them as command spent. So that's all when it comes to the American movement phase. Let's go to our Soviets. Okay, time for Soviets to go, and they are here. So this group moves forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So they moved 14, and now let's give them spot move. Well, these spot markers are making some use when you are not in the clear terrain. When you are in the clear terrain, well, you can keep them, but they make sense if you are playing on the bigger board. When you are playing on the small distance like here, they don't make that use. Okay, so next I am going to move this Soviet command tank, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And also spot move. Now this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I think, I wonder if I should stop here. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. Now, these two groups, they are going to split, and these two tanks are moving here, just like these 4 tanks. So they are going to be next to each other, and the other 2 are going to move like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and also spot move. Alright, this concludes our movement, and now when our movement is done we can finish our movement phase. We can also skip second air phase because no air stuff here, and we are moving into adjustment phase. So, adjust turret step. So, do any of our tanks want to adjust their turrets? I don't think so. We don't have any situations when we can fire at the enemy, or we can be afraid of being hit. As you can see, our tanks are all hidden from each other because of the terrain, so I don't think there will be more fighting in the turn 2 as well. So no adjust turret step. We don't have to remove suppression markers, morale, etc, etc. So this concludes turn 1. Nothing much in this turn, only movement, and I believe that turn 2 will be similar. I guess so. So that's all for the turn 1. Alright, let's carry on with turn 2, and we are starting with spotting phase. Now, I think that most of tanks cannot be seen by anyone. I mean, this forest blocks their line of sight, so no one can see them and they cannot see each other. And now, they are on the hill, and they are not on the hill which is adjacent to the edge. So, well, we have no Soviet units that are on the same high, so no one can see them. Also, there is a woods here, and each of these hexes has high of 3, so no line of sight. When it comes to these two groups, well, I think it is the same. Let me check. I believe that no one can see them as well, so let's remove these spot markers. And, well, same goes for Soviets, no spot markers. So that's all for spotting phase, and next we are going into command phase. So let's go with disrupted communication step first, and let's see. Americans, this is 64, and Soviets, this is 84, so the difference is 20. No disrupted communication. So we can check for the number of orders available. It is the same as before. All we need to check is if the Soviets are all in the range of their command tank. A command tank is here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my, one hex too far. So they are out of the range. So let me check. Soviet have 13 units. So they have 6 and 2, so they have 8 commands, but only 4 of them can be movement or short halt, because at last one unit is out of range. So 4 commands available, but only 4 are move. Okay, who is going to move? I believe them, 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 and them. While command tank will stay here and it gets no comment. Okay, Americans. Well, here we have a easier situation because we have 2 command tanks, so our groups are all in command. So there will be movement only. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Why like this? Because this is a command tank. And I don't want to make my command tank face the enemy. It would be wiser to keep it in the safe distance. So, that's all. And now we can check for the initiative. Let's go, Americans. Oh, just 0-8, and Soviets 0-8. This is the same, so this is a draw. So we have to re-roll. Okay, Americans 59, and Soviets it is 12. So Americans have initiative. And first, I can place this marker here to remember about it. So next we have a command, we have air phase we can skip, combat phase we can skip because no one has a fire commands. So we are moving into the movement phase, and Soviets are moving first. Okay, so here we go with our Soviets. And who is going to move where? Alright, this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I believe that's all. So, spot move. Now them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And they have 14, but that's all. They are not going to move any further. And because of that, we can mark this bridge here as being controlled by the Soviets. Okay, now that group. 1, 2, 3, 3, and I believe that's all. Okay, and these 2 tanks. Oh, first of all, we need to mark this bridge as being controlled by Soviets as well. Good. Now, these 2 tanks, they are moving 1 hex closer, and they are going to finish their movement here. So, they get spot move. Okay, time for Americans to go. And what are they going to do? First, I'm going to move this group. They have only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have woods. And to enter woods, we need 3. So we cannot enter these woods now. We can only make stop. Okay, they are going to move next. They are moving here, and that's where they are going to stop. They are not going to move any further, but even so, they need to get spot move. Okay, this group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe not. 5, and they are going to move here, 6, but they cannot move any further because they only can move here. They cannot change their facing already because they spent 6 movement points, and their movement in the terrain, not on any kind of the road, is just 5. So they have to stay here and cannot do nothing more. Okay. This command tank remains on this hex while this group moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder if they should go any further. No, they will stay here. So spot move, and my command tank goes 1, 2, 3, and 3. That's all. Alright, so that's all when it comes of the movement phase. And we are done with the movement phase now, so let's go to the adjust phase. And anyone who wants to change their turrets, now, them. I want them to change their turret facing, so 1, 2, 3, because all of them are turning. Here, because they want to fire at these Soviets. And now, them, they also want to change their turrets facing, but the question is how much they can. So let me check for their card, and they can change their turret by 2 because they have turret traverse of 2. So we have 3 tanks, and they are facing here, and now they are facing there, and now they are facing here. Not sure if this will help them much, but it won't hurt. Okay, now Soviets, do they want to do any turrets traverse? Well, they can see them without changing their turrets, moving their turrets, and them, I believe they want to. So 1, they are changing by 1, and now them, yes, they want to. They are changing their turrets like that. Alright, so that's all when it comes to the adjustment. And next, we don't have any morale markers, suppression markers to remove, so this concludes turn 2. Well, it was another peaceful turn, but I think this peace is going to end quickly, because finally some units can see each other, so I believe that the next turn we'll see more fire action. So that's all for the turn 2. Alright, so let's carry on with turn 3. So let's start with spotting phase and see if we can, if we have some spot counters to remove. Well, I believe I can remove this counter without any doubts. Now, they both can see each other clearly, and when it comes to them, I believe that there is a chance that they can be seen, but well, they are. There is nothing that crosses their line of sight, so I believe they can see each other, and they both have spot move, so we can keep these spot move markers. And All of them can keep their spot move as well. So that's all when it comes to spotting phase. And next we are going into the command phase. Let's start with disrupted communication step and see if we have any communication issues. Americans, they have 61, and Soviets, they have 55. So no disrupted communication, everything's fine with communication. Next we have to determine available comments, and well, we still have no losses on each side. We have still full number of our tanks, and because of that we can check for the number of comments in the same way as before. And Americans have no issues with command range. And when it comes to Soviets, well, their command tank is here, so I believe they are out of range. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So Russians suffer out of range issues. So only of all their commands, only 4 can be move or show halt. All the others can be only fire or overwatch or no comment. Okay, and finally there is something new that I had not a chance to speak about before, and this is a smoke discharger. Before you are going to place your comment markers on the board, you can decide to use your smoke dischargers only if your tank has a smoke dischargers. You can check it by looking at the ammo part of the vehicle card and see if there is D. If there is a D, this means that vehicle has smoke dischargers, and this M60 and both our T72 have these smoke dischargers, and on the level of 5. And now some of them that are on the board can use these smoke dischargers. Why? Because when you are placing smoke dischargers, this means that your vehicle will be harder to hit. And it is quite useful when you see a couple of enemy units ready to fire at you, and you know that their guns have pretty devastating firepower, and they can be very dangerous for you. So sometimes it can be good to place this smoke to make enemy harder to hit on you. And now, is there anyone on the board who would like to have this smoke placed on their hexes? I believe yes. I believe that these M60s want to get their smoke, so it will be harder for these 4 T72s to hit them. So I will try to place the smoke marker here. And now I have to make a roll. If I will get a result which is equal or less than the smoke value, I can do it. So I will try. I get 1, so yes, I can get smoke. Fine. So they get smoke here. And now they want to do the same, because they know that enemy is going to probably fire at them as well, and they are in the open ground, which means that they might have a problem to place, to get any cover. So we have 4 tanks, and okay, the first tank was enough, they get the smoke. Great. So that's all when it comes to smoke. Anyone else? No, I think no one else wants to get a smoke. So now let's make an initiative roll. 4 Americans, we got just 0 and 4, and Russians, they have 82. So this time Russians have initiative, so we can put turn marker here to remember that Russians have initiative, and we can now give our vehicles command counters. Okay, so you can see all the fire markers and command markers are on. So Russians have initiative, so they are going to fire first, and let's declare who is going to fire where. First, we have 4 Soviet tanks here, and they are all firing at this stack. So 2 first are going to fire on the first tank, and the remaining 2 are going to fire on the second and third tank respectively. Next, here we have 4 tanks, and they have their turrets adjusted so they can fire at this hex too. So they are going to fire as well, and first 2 tanks are going to fire on the second tank, while 3rd and 4th tank are going to fire at the 1st and the 3rd tank. So that's my plan. And now here, these tanks are going to fire at them. I have 2 tanks here, and each of them is going to fire on the 1st and the 2nd American tank. Oh, it should be placed like that. Okay, so these are Russians. I will declare American fire when the Russians finish their fire, because I don't know how many of the American tanks are going to survive this. So let's start here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, 5 hexes range. And for the T-72, 5 hexes is point blank. Oh, pretty close. But now let's see for all the modifiers, and we are going to have a couple of them. First of all, they are in the scrap. Yes, this is scrap. Let me check. Yes, this is scrap, and scrap provides light cover. So this is -1 for light cover. Next, they have smoke on their own hex, and smoke here. This means that we have -3 for smoke on their own hex and -3 for smoke here, so it's -6. So now it's totally of -7, pretty big. And next, do we have any other modifiers? I believe no. They are not moving, and they are not moving either, so this is -7 on the point blank. Let me check. Oh no, we have one more positive modifier, because M16 is pretty big tank. It provides +1. So now we have not -7 but -6. -6 on the point blank is 36. So we are going to hit them, and we will score the hit on the 36 or less. So 4 shots, miss, 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 and hit. It is 36. So the last tank scored the hit, and it was the last tank, so it was fired on the last American tank either. So now let's see how they hit them. It's 4 and 1. Oh, that's bad. 4 means they hit them on the turret front, and 1 means that they scored a hit, but this, I believe, no damage. Yes, this is no damage. Oh, but we still have to make a roll to see if American tankers are not afraid enough and they are going to bail out. We need to roll 10 or less, and this is 91, so they are fine. Okay, that's all for these tanks. And now them. They are firing here, so now no smoke, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is short, and we have 9, -1 for scrap, -3 for smoke, and +1 for the tank size. So this is -4, and -4 on the short is 42. So we have 42, and we have 4 hits. A miss, miss, a miss, and a miss. Oh, that's very poor shooting. So Soviets failed, and now these 2 tanks are firing here. They are going to fire at first and the second tank each, and now we have the enemy moving, so it's -2. Enemy is a big size, so we get +1, and the range is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is point blank on -1, so it's 81. Now you can tell the difference. 81 and 79, this is a hit, and 76, this is a hit. So we hit 2 of these American tanks here, and let's check for the results of our shooting. First hit, 9 and 7. We hit them on the front aspect, so 9, oh sorry, no, wrong, 9 is a hull front. Okay, so we hit their hull from the front. Their hull front has 48 and our firepower is 108. Okay, this is a devastating hit. And their 7 is BU, so they are brew up. This means the tank is not only destroyed, but it's only burning. And because of that, all the vehicles on the same hex get suppression on. So we need to place 2 suppression on markers. And I have to roll for the second hit. It is 1 and 6. 1 it is turret front, and the 6 is KO. And we can tell that they have 108, turret front has 48, so it's done. So the second tank is also destroyed. So I can remove this spot marker as well. So we have first 2 victims of this battle. Okay, so that's all for Russians. Time for Americans to shine, and where they are going to attack. Oh, I should keep this marker here. So these 3 tanks are going to fire here. They are going to fire at 1, 2 and 3 Russian tank. Now this tank is going to try to avenge his fallen comrades and fires here, and they are going to fire at them as well, and they are firing at first 2 are firing on the first tank and the other 2 are firing on the second tank. Okay, so first here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so this is point blank for American tank, and -3 for our smoke, -3 for the smoke here, so it's -6, and that's all. Because T-72 isn't a big target, it is normal, it has a size of 0, so 6 on the point blank is 36, so we will hit them on 36. We have 3 hits, a miss, a miss, and a miss. Oh. Smoke is working, but on the both sides. Oh, I forgot to flip these spot markers on the fire side. And now here. Now, this is going to be complicated case, because we have a short hard order, and they have stabilizers of 2. So they have -2 because of the stabilizers of 2. Next, enemy is in the medium cover, so it's -3, so it's total of -5 now. They are suppressed, so it's again -5, so it's -10 on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -10 on the point blank, so they need 1. Oh, 24, so they missed. And now them. Enemy is in the medium cover, so it's -3. They have a short halt, so they have -2, so it's -5. And -5 on the point blank is 45, so they need 45 to hit. A miss, 45, a hit, a miss, and a miss. We scored 1 hit. So first tank gets 1 hit, and now on the point blank we have 110. Let's see where we hit them. 0 and 1. Oh god. 0, this is truck kill, and 1 is no damage. So we scored no damage at all on them. Oof, that's a very unlucky shooting for Americans. So that's all when it comes to the combat phase. Well, Russians were definitely much more lucky this time. So let's carry on with the movement phase, and Americans are going to move first, since they are second player. First this group, they move 1, 2, and 3, 4, and that's their movement. Spot move. They fired, they fired, they fired, and now they have they have a short halt, so they are turning 1, 2, and that's all. So I can remove these turrets markers. Now this tank is not only short-halted but also suppressed, so it can only move 1 hex, so they are not going to make any movement, they are going to stay where they are. And now Russians. Now let me flip these markers to remember that they made their actions. And now Russians. Russian command tank is moving here. These two tanks are moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they are going to finish their movement here. And that's all. We have all our tanks moved. We don't have any other units marked with active commands. So that's all when it comes to the movement phase. And next we have adjustment phase. So let's see if anyone wants to adjust the turrets. I am not sure. Wait. Well, they want to keep the turrets like that, so that's fine. Same goes to them. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't want to. They have their turrets properly. And well, no one is going to do any actions here. And next we have to check for the markers. First of all, we have to remove all the smoke markers made by dischargers. Next, I have to flip suppress markers on the off side. And yes, this concludes all the actions in the turn 3. Let's carry on with next turn, and we are starting with spotting phase. I believe most of the tanks can be seen by anyone, save to them. I think that still no one can see these tanks, so I can remove spot marker from them. And this tank is still out of sight, but no, I think that actually they can be seen by this group. Let's see. Yeah, definitely they can see them, and because of the spot move, even the medium cover can't hide them, I think. Let me check. They are in a medium cover, so there is -2, and they have spot move, so it's +2, and they are vehicles, so they can be seen from 20 hexes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, yes, they can be seen. So we can keep all the other spot counters, and we are moving into command phase, and starting with disrupted communication step first. So let's make rolls for disrupted communication. Americans, they have 67, and Soviets, they have 36. So the difference is 30, so this is still not enough to get disrupted communication. Okay, so next we can determine the available commands, and now Americans lost 2 tanks. None of them is command tank, this is good, but still their forces is going to be smaller, so they have 4, 5, 6, 9, 13. So they have 13 tanks, and because of that they have 8 commands. Okay, they have 8 commands, and they are in the range of their command tanks. Yeah, I believe so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, they are all in the range. So everything's fine, they can use their full commands, and when it comes to Russians, they have same number of commands because they have also 13 units, but because of the being out of command range, I think so, because there is a command tank at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yes, so they can only have use half of their available movement and spot and short halt. Okay, so that's all. And first of all, anyone wants to use smoke? I believe no. Or maybe, I wonder if they would like to use smoke. A problem with them is that they can be fired by these two Russian tanks, or them. Well, I think they want to use smoke, because there is a lot of Russian tanks that can fire on them, so they would try to get their smoke. So let me make a roll. 1, okay, that's fine. They can get smoke on the hex, and that's all. No one else wants to use smoke because they hope they will be able to kill them. So they don't want to use smoke because it will hinder their own ability to fire as well. Okay, so that's all when it comes to that stuff. Now we can give our vehicles their comments. So, Americans, they are going to move. And this is command tank and it wants to move as well. They are going to fire. He is going to move. And I think that's all when it comes to Americans, yes. And now Ruskies. And Russians, what our Russians are going to do? They are going to fire. I wonder if they should use short halt, and so it will be harder for them to hit them, but it will be harder for them to hit them as well. So this is a mixed bag, and so I will risk and get a fire. They will also take fire. They will also take fire, and command tank will take move. So that's all when it comes to the orders, I believe. Yes, everyone. Oh no, they haven't orders. And what are they going to do? I believe I will give them... I wonder if I should... Well, I will take my risk and give them short halt. And one more thing I want to do is to give them move. And here we have a command tank, and it will stay here. So it's going to get no comment. Okay, so that's all. And next let's check for initiative. And Americans, they have 67. And Soviets, they have 26. So this time Americans get initiative back, and they are going to fire first. Alright. So, who is going to fire and where? They are going to fire here. They have 3 tanks, and each tank fires at a single tank on this hex. So, they are firing on the range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is point blank. And they are... what are their modifiers? First of all, they are firing with short halt, and their stabilizers are 2, so they have -2, and they have a smoke, so it's 3. So they have 3 and 2, so it's 5. So they have -5 on the short halt, so they are hitting the enemy on 45 or less. So first shot, this is 21, this is hit, great. So they hit a Russian tank, and notice that they are firing from the hill. So their shots are falling. So we hit them with point blank. So let's check where we hit them. It's 9 and 2. Okay, so it's 9, and we are firing from the front aspect. So 9 on the front aspect, it is whole front. So we hit them on the whole front, and their whole front and the fall is 61. Our gun is 110, so this is a penetration. And next we get 2, so this is damage. That's bad. So their hull is damaged. So we can place hull damage marker. Okay, we got next hit 69, so this is a miss, and the final shot 81, this is a miss. So we scored 1 hit and it was just a damage. It could be better. So that's all. And now these 3 tanks are firing here. So 4 tanks, sorry. So 2 tanks are firing on the first tank and 2 tanks are firing on the second tank. So first 2 tanks. Oh, sorry, first I need to calculate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is short. They are in the roof terrain, and roof terrain provides roof. It is medium cover. Oh, interesting. So medium cover provides a modifier of 3, right? Yes, it is -3 because of the roof cover of the roof terrain, and we are firing on the short range, so we can use our laser sight. Our laser sight on the short is +1. We can use it because there is no smoke. And so we get -3 and +1 because of this laser sight. So we get -2 on the short range. So it's 56. So we can hit them on 56. First hit, it is a miss. Second shot, oh, and this is a miss as well. Okay, so next 2 tanks are firing on the second tank. No, and damn it. That was a I don't have a good words to comment this. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the Americans. They don't have any other fire comments. So now Russians are going to get their revenge. Well, they don't have many tanks to avenge because all their tanks are fine so far. Okay, I will start here. These 2 tanks are firing here on the first and the second tank. These 2 tanks are firing here on this tank, and I will cover the other part later. So let's check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they are firing on the short. They have there is no modifier for terrain. They are not moving, and they are big targets. So we get +1, and we are firing on the short range. So we can use laser sight as well because they also have laser, and this is +2, +1 for the size, +2, +1 for the laser. So we got +2 on the short. This is 84. Okay, so first hit, it is a hit, and the second shot, it is a miss. So we scored 1 hit on them, and now let's check how good we hit them. 6 and 5. Okay, 6 on the front aspect is full front, and 5 it is KO. And now we hit their whole front, it is 48, on the short with 97. So this is definitely a penetration, and the 5 it is KO. So one American tank here is KO'd. Alright, they are firing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is point blank, but there is burap smoke, and burap smoke provides -2, and we cannot use a laser sight. Well, this is point blank, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so we cannot use laser on the point blank anyway. So this is -2 for burap smoke, +1 because of the enemy size. So it is -1. So this is 81. We will hit this tank on 81. So first hit, this is a hit, good. And second shot, this is a hit as well. So we hit them twice, great. First shot, it is 3 and 3. Okay, so 3, it is turret front. And their turret front is 48, our firepower is 108, and 3, this is KO. So the first shot was enough to destroy this American tank, and we can place KO marker. Okay, so that's all. And next, let's go here. These tanks are firing on them, and these 4 tanks are also firing on them. So we will have 4 shots from this hex and 4 shots from that hex on the 3 tanks. So first here they are firing on the their first 2 tanks are firing on the first tank, and their remaining 2 tanks are firing on the second and third, and same situation here. So first 2 shots on the first tank, we got point blank, and we got -3 because of the smoke, and +1 because of the size, and there is scrap. Scrap provides light cover, I believe. I need to check to make sure. Yes, this is light cover. So we got -3 for smoke, -1 for light cover, and +1 because of the enemy size. So it's -3 on the point blank. It's 63. So miss and a hit. So we scored 1 hit. And now let's make a roll. Where and when. It is 9 and 0. Okay, and 10. 9, this is 9, this is hull front, and 10, this is brew up. So this tank is burning, and now we can place a brew up smoke marker here, and the other 2 tanks are suppressed. Alright, so next. I need to check one more thing. Yes, I forgot about one thing. This tank here was hit and damaged. So I need to check if the crew wasn't about to run away. So we are going to make a roll for damage, and for crew it is 30. So if I roll 30 or less, they are going to run away. No, they are not. So these first 2 tanks were firing on the first tank, and the other 2 tanks are firing on the next 2 tanks. So first of them, it is 43, so I believe this is a hit. I forgot, let me count. There was -3 for brew up smoke, and -1 for scrap, and +1 for size. So it was 3, it was 63. Yes, so we got hit. Let's check for the other roll. It is 9 and 3. So 9 it is hull front, and 3 it is KO. And yes, this is definitely a penetration, so this tank is KO'd. And the final shot, 12. This is also a hit, and now it is 8 and 9. So this is, I don't even have to count, I know already this is BU. So this tank is burning as well. So we can remove all these markers, because all these tanks were destroyed. And because of that, they have no targets. So we can flip on the comment. And that's all when it comes to the firing. This concludes combat phase, and we are moving to the movement phase, and Russians are moving first because they are second player. Well, the only Russian tank that can move is here, so they go 1 hex. I don't even have to roll for the bulk because they are just they are making just one hex move. So that's all for the Russians. And now American tanks. These tanks are moving. They have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that's all. And now this tank goes here, just the one hex, no more. And this concludes movement phase. Yes, this concludes movement phase, so we are moving into the adjustment phase. So anyone wants to pivot their turrets? I think they want to pivot their turrets because they hear something is coming, so they are moving their turrets like that to be ready. And anyone else? Let me check. Well, they can see enemy clearly, they can, then they don't have to, so that's fine, no more turret adjustment. And now, do I have to check for... No, I don't have any suppression markers on board, so no one gets to remove their suppress level. So this concludes this turn. Okay, let's go with the next turn. I think that there is a chance that it will be the last turn because you can tell the difference of the losses is very big because Americans lost 7 tanks and Russians so far lost not a single tank. So that's pretty bad for US Army. And we are starting next turn. So let's go with spotting phase. And now anyone... I can remove this spot marker and all the other remain, I think. Let me check. Yes, I believe all the other spot markers are going to stay. Wait, anyone can see them? I don't think so. Okay, so that's for the spotting. And next we are going into initiative phase, so let's start with disrupted communication. 44 for Americans and 41 for Russians, so no disruption. Alright, so next we have to determine available command steps. Okay, and when it comes to Americans, they have 3, 4, 5 and 8 tanks. Oh my. 8 tanks means they have 5 commands, but they are all in command. That's the only good thing for them so far. So, okay, I will give them move. They are going to get fire. And this guy, I think he will get short halt. Okay, and this is my command tank here, so I wonder if he should get any command, but so I will give him no comment. Okay, and now Russians. They suffered this command range issues. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, they are out of range, so Russians can only get 4 movement commands, so they are going to get here and here, and now they are going to get fire, same goes to them, and they are going to get overwatch because they can hear something is coming from here. And is that all? Yeah, that's all. So now we can determine who is going to have initiative in this turn. Americans, just 23, and Russians 49. So Russians hold the initiative. That's not good. And we can start with combat phase. So Russians are firing first, and let's see. These 2 tanks are firing here on these 3 tanks, so first and the second tanks are their targets respectively, and these 2 tanks are firing at him. Okay, so let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 7, so this is short. We are firing on short range with modifiers of +1 because Americans are big targets, and +1 because of the laser sight. So we got short and +2. Pretty good. Short and +2 is 84. So we will hit on 84. So first hit, wow, that's a miss. 90, and the second hit, 07, this is hit. Okay, so second tank scored a hit on Americans. Let's see how good. Oh, this is track hit only. So this second American tank is immobilized. And I have to check if crew isn't about to escape. This is track kill, so we need 30 or less. Oh, they are bailing out. So this tank is no more. Okay, and now they are firing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is also a short, but we got let me check, it was -2. Yes, we got -2 because he's moving. We got -3 because we are firing through the fire, so it's -5. And we got +1 because of the size. So it's short, but it's -4. And no, I cannot use laser sight because of the smoke. So it's short with -4, it is 42. So we need 42 or less. Okay, this is a hit, and the second, this is a miss. So we scored 1 hit on them. It is 5 and 1. Ooh, that's bad, because 1 means no damage. So we can only roll for possible bailout. And yeah, this is 0-2. So they are bailing out. Ooh. Americans aren't very lucky in this game, definitely. So this tank is no more as well. Okay, and they have spot fire. Okay, that's all for the Russians shooting at Americans, and now we can do the same for Americans. We still have 2 tanks here because the crew of the second tank ran away, so we still have 2 tanks, and they are going to fire at these Russians, 1 to each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is short, and Americans can use their laser sight as well. So this is +1, but they are in the no, they are in the clear terrain. Okay, so yeah, they are in the clear terrain. So we got short and +1. So this is 77. First shot, 21. This is a hit, and how it works? It is 0 and 2. So this is track hit. So they are immobilized only. And the second shot, 63. And 63 on the short halt. This is a hit, yes. Good. So now how good it was? Oh, hell! It is 1. So it's no damage. So we can only roll for possible escaping of the Russian crew tank. 48, no, they are staying in their tanks. So that's all for Americans. This is pretty bad. They lost a couple of tanks and achieved nothing. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the firing. And now we can go into the movement phase. Okay, so Americans are moving, yes, because they are a second player, so they are moving first, and these 3 tanks are going here, and now let's mark them that they spent 1 movement point so far. And now these 3 Russian tanks are 4 Russian tanks are firing on them. So first 2 tanks are firing on the first tank, and 3rd and 4th tank are firing on the 2nd and 3rd tank. Okay, so this is point blank by all means, but enemy is moving, so we got -2. We are firing as Overwatch, so we get -1. So it's -3 and +1 because of the enemy size. So it is point blank and -2, so it's 72. So first of all, these 2 tanks are firing on the first tank. So let's roll for both of them. It's 56, 52, it is a hit, and 81, this is a miss. Okay, so we scored 1 hit on the first tank. This is 2 and 6. And we are firing from the front side aspect. So 2, this is turret front. And now let's calculate if the hit was effective. I believe it was. It was 108 versus 48. So, sorry, front side. We are firing from front side, so it's 57. Well, even so, it was definitely enough to destroy this American tank. So it's KO here. And now the other 2 tanks. First, 22, this is a hit, and how good it was? 5 and 6. So 5 means that they hit full front, and American full front, oh hell, sorry. American full front from the front side is 57, so they are done, and 6, this means that they are KO as well. And the last hit, and sorry, last shot, #67. And we needed, I forgot. So it was -1 for Overwatch, -2 for the enemy movement, and +1 because of the size. So it was -2 on the point blank, so it's 72. So yes, this is a hit. And now 3 and 1. 1 is no damage, so he's alive. And now let's check if crew isn't bailing out. 63, they aren't. Okay, so that's all. They lost 2 tanks here. And they can still move because none of these tanks is burning. So I will flip my tank like that, and I will finish my movement. Oh no, I will move here. Okay, so spot move. And that's all for the American movement. Yes, that's all. So now Russians. I will move this command tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these 4 tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's all when it comes to the movement phase. Yes, that's all. So now, no one is suppressed, so we don't have to remove any suppressed markers. And in fact, we can replace these tanks marked as bail out with KO tanks, because they are definitely they are abandoned by the crews, so they are virtually KO'd. because in this game you cannot get your crew back in your tank once it bail out. Okay, and I think this is about to end our battle. Well, let's see. Russians lost no tank, and Americans have 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, and also these tanks are out of command because they lost their command tank. So, well, I can call it a day, definitely. There is nothing more Americans can do. They lost. So that's all. That was pretty one-sided battle. I really hoped it will go differently, but looks like luck was on the Russian side, and Americans had definitely bad luck. Well, you can tell. Sometimes die rolls are definitely not on the certain side. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.